out there in cyber world. This is Joe Nolfo. You remember me from the Joe Nolfo Show. Got a brand new show out right now. It's called the Drunken Cockatoo Show. I'm right here with Lucky Leo Shiraz, and I'm right here with Hula Girl Amy, a bartender extraordinaire. And we're going to have a show here about tropical stuff around the world. We're going to have a drink that we're going to introduce you to from the farthest and strangest islands in the world that you've never heard of before. And we're going to teach you how to make them, and we're also going to teach you how to cook a tropical seafood dish on each and every episode. Today's show is a tribute to our fallen leader, Mr. Jimmy Buffett himself. And we're all in sorrow here, and we're going to dedicate this show to Jimmy today. And rather than do a show like everybody else does, where they just go on the internet and they just retrieve facts from the internet and they just recycle them like every other, every other tribute that you see, I'm going to call back on my own memories of my own life with Jimmy Buffett. Our lives crossed, our paths crossed together, and I actually got him to sponsor me in a couple of events that I did, some rather grand events that I did, and I'm going to recount some of the stories for you guys today.
Excellent.
And where it all started was, I grew up down in the Keys. Grew up listening to Jimmy Buffett. I used to go down to the Keys when I would drink with Mel Fisher before he struck it rich with the Atosha. We would see Jimmy Buffett floating around town.
I got you.
And, back in the crazy days and all that. And my parents, we had a Airstream aluminum trailer right on the water in the Keys. And when I was 12 years old, I was lobster and listening to Jimmy Buffett and all that. The album White Sport Coat and a Pink Crustacean. And, so as I got hit by a hit-and-run driver, and I lost my leg when I was 21 years old. And I really, really, really didn't want to be handicapped. And I hated old women opening doors for me. And I hated little children looking at me like I was an alien. So I decided I wanted to do some stuff and show people that I could do things that other people couldn't do. So I worked out, and I broke a world record distance swim. At a long center. I swam 30.5 miles. And I have the T-shirts I'm going to show you here shortly. I got some of the old commemorative T-shirts and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I was going to take my mother to a Jimmy Buffett concert at the Ice Palace when it was in the Ice Palace in Tampa, and my mom suggested, she says, why don't you make a little package up, because I told her I wanted to push a racing wheelchair from here to California. She said, make up a package and try to get to Jimmy backstage, and which I did.
Right.
And I had all the the newspaper clippings of the swims that I did and all that, the world record I broke.
That's amazing.
And so I'm walking up to the back of the place, and I'm surprised because I'm walking right in the back of the Ice Palace. Nobody's even obstructing me, And I'm walking in. Finally, this big dude, man, like with chain wallet and all that. I guess he was what you call a roadie.
A roadie.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he stopped me and he said, "What are you doing there, boy?" And I told him my story about how I lost my leg and I broke the world record to swim. I showed him the newspaper real quick before he put me out.
Nice, the clip. Yeah.
And I said, "Hey, I don't have much money, man, but I had a $20 bill," and I gave him the package and I said, and the $20 bill, and I said, "Please try to get this to Jimmy." And it was a proposal for him to help me pay for the cross country trip.
Right.
That's awesome. So
he tells me okay, and so I leave there and I'm on the way back. My mom's waiting on me, so I sneak a cocktail before I see her because I can't drink in front of her. So we go back to we watched the whole concert and everything, and I'd forgotten about it pretty much, and 3 weeks later I get a phone call, and it's Jimmy's office at the Crest Building in Key West, and they said, "Can you come down next Friday?
Nice.
We want to talk to you about the pushing the wheelchair from Florida to California for the Humane Society," if I didn't mention. And so off I went. The following weekend, man, I hopped in my car and I went down there, and I go upstairs in the Crest Building and I open the door, and Marty Lehman, he's probably retired by now. He was like the gatekeeper back then. He brought me back, and there was Jimmy in his office, and I met Jimmy and we all talked. And
wow, that's neat.
it was kind of hard talking to Jimmy because the La Concha Hotel was in the background, and it's the roof of it, and it was clothing optional. There was a bunch of young pretty women that were laying naked. So I always hoped that Jimmy wouldn't think that I was being rude looking over his shoulder. I think maybe his earlobes were kind of big, and I was thinking maybe I was looking at his earlobes. So, but anyway, come to find out, on a handshake, I got the sponsorship to push the wheelchair from Florida to California for the Humane Society.
Nice.
And so I went home and I bought an old used motorhome, and I'm an artist, so I painted Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville down both sides, A1A, the band that plays it.
They seen you coming down the road.
Yeah, Scott Nickerson, I think his name was. He's the guy that founded the Parrot Heads, and I became involved with them and all that. And so about 2 months later, there I was. I left. I said goodbye to all my friends and my family. Had a little party, and I hopped in me and a friend of mine by the name Glenn, and my 2 dogs, my 2 pit bulls, Buck and Sam. We took off to Homosassa. We wanted to get out of town a little bit before I started pushing the wheelchair on US. I couldn't do it on US 19, so you got to get up in the highways. So we get there, and we had a agency that was letting people know we were coming before we got there. So when we got there, we went to this little motorhome park that they had us a line to go to, and there was a bunch of parrot heads waiting there.
Wow.
And they had a big
awesome.
party
I love
for
them.
us.
I love
And
the
we
parrots.
partied at a place called Filthy McNasty's that just went out of business.
That sounds
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
That's
And
McNasty.
this guy gave me a bottle of Jack Daniels. It was from 1964, and he made me promise that I would not drink it until we got to Los Angeles when the trip was done.
What?
And he was really old when he gave it to me. I know he's not alive, so I can tell you it didn't make it. It didn't make it until Alabama. I know that. So anyway, so we took off, and it was great. So we took off on Homosassa. We were going on 19 north, went all the way up, and went to Apalachicola. I ate the first time I ever ate Apalachicola oysters, which are like
Oysters
candy,
are good.
unbelievable.
Yes, they're delicious.
Everywhere I went, people knew I was
Nice.
going to be there before I got there. And I had this huge RV bus that says Margaritaville store on both sides. So I was like eating everything free. The drinks were free. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And then I remember we went across in Perdido Key. We went across where Alabama and Florida meet. There's a gigantic bar that's owned by Capitol Records there called the Floribama. And it's just this massive castle on the ocean.
Wow.
And a lot of people go to make their bones there, like Jimmy Buffett played there a lot and all that. I had a fantastic experience there, and then we, after that was over, I had to get up the next day after partying, and I had to do a marathon a day in that wheelchair, which was one of the 3-wheel wheelchairs. I had to do a marathon a day, and so I would take the weekends off. So I remember we went, and I think I pushed 5, 6, 7 days, and then through Mississippi and all that, out in I got to meet Bo Speed, who was a really good friend of Jimmy's, and he took me out on the Shoebox, a boat on the Mississippi River. Got all kinds of special treatment. And then
I love that for you.
yeah, and I was not ready for New Orleans. I had never been there before.
Good Lord.
Lord have mercy.
Good Lord.
I walked in and I met a guy named Earl Bernhardt. He's since passed away last year, and he owned him and Pam Fortner owned the Tropical Isle, the Grapevine Restaurant, a bunch of buildings. They used to let me stay free there in an apartment building they had when I was going through, when I was involved with the NASA program and all that. And I remember they had a thing called a hand grenade, which we're going to have in the next couple of shows when we do the New Orleans show. And it's made with 190 grain, and you can sip it down like apple juice. And I go to the party, and I'm feeling on top of the world. Everybody's treating me good. So they said the record is 11 of those that anybody has ever drinking.
Oh my
so I was feeling like the king of the highway, and I walked in and I signed a waiver. You had to sign a waiver, and I think I made it through. I think I made it almost to the 7th one when I passed out on the bar. And Earl had 2 of his big beefcake guys pick me up off the bar stool, walk me across the street, and put me in an iron bathtub of an apartment. That's a true story. I am not exaggerating. And I woke up not even knowing where the hell I was. I was laying in that bathtub. But anyway, that was in the beginning of Bloody Tuesday, my 2nd book in the series of the Bradley West series. So that's actually autobiographical. That's the biography of that story of that, believe it or not. And then from there we went on to the rest of Louisiana. We went into Texas. Texas was the longest straight road. Terrible, man. I still have nightmares about pushing that wheelchair across Texas. But then was New Mexico. We went through the mountains of New Mexico, and I had a specially designed wheelchair that had a crank like this, like a bicycle, so you could go up the mountains, because there's no way you could push a wheelchair up and down the mountains. And I remember one time I'm going around these corners. I'd never been there before, and I'm going around these corners, and the guy's following behind me in a little Bronco 2, and I'm pushing. You look down, and there's 14,000, 15,000, not even a guardrail on the corners. I don't know if you've ever been up in the New Mexico mountains. Anyway, I go around the corner, and I'm like this major animal lover, and I go around the corner, and there's like bulls and cows everywhere.
What?
And they're out in the road, man, and I'm like freaking out. They're gonna get hit by cars, right? I'm freaking. They're gonna get hit by a car. And so I stop and I get out of the wheelchair and I tell my buddy that's following me, I said, take me down. I look way down this dirt road, and there was a little farm out there. This is a true story, I swear. And I said, take me to it. I said, take me to the front door. So he threw the wheelchair on top of the roof, strapped it down. We drive down this road, we go, and I knock on the door of this barn. And these man and woman come out. They look like they were from some other planet or some other century. Big chops and everything. And I said, hey man, I said, I hate to bother you, but I said, your cows are out in the street, your bulls are in the street.
Yeah.
And they just started laughing at me.
Goodness.
And they said, are you that boy that we read about that's pushing the wheelchair across the country? And
Oh,
I said,
that's
yeah. And they just started laughing at me. And I'm trying to figure out what's funny. And they go, you don't know what a cattle guard is, do you? So in other words, up in the mountains up there, and the pastures, they have cattle guards where the cows won't step by them. So the cows are free to roam everywhere. So they're laughing at me because I'm a Miami boy. So I started talking to them and everything. And then they, because Jimmy Buffett had sponsored me, I had bought an acoustic guitar. So I got a magazine, or a little guitar book that just teaching me how to play a Jimmy Buffett song. So I'm looking for the one with the easiest chords, right?
Basic,
and of course, just by fate, that one was "Why Don't We Get Drunk and Screw." It was so easy to play. It was like 3 chords,
Yeah.
So they invite me to this
Good
little
song.
hoedown.
Yeah.
They invite me to a hoedown. Now this is the Bible Belt, right?
Yeah.
There ain't nobody
Yeah.
up here but Christians and Catholics. And I mean, these people are devout. Number one, they didn't like me because I was doing the push across the country for the Humane Society because they always getting tagged for their cows, the way they treat their cows.
Oh.
So half of them didn't like me, and they invited me where they all have a barbecue, and they made this little clubhouse up in the mountains, and everybody takes turns playing acoustic songs. So this guy gets up, and I think he played something like "Swing Low, Sweet Chariot" or something. And hey, Jake, be quiet there, boy. That's Jinkle Pops, the Drunken Cockatoo himself. You will meet him. That's enough, Jake. So anyway, this guy gets done playing, and I grab my guitar, and I get up there, and I start playing "Why Don't We Get Drunk and Screw." And then I go,
good
and when I got to the vocals,
Yeah, wait.
I'm not exaggerating, when I said, "Honey, why don't we get drunk and screw?" They unplugged the amplifier and literally threw me out of the place. They said, I mean, it was like Alice Cramden, with Ralph and the Honeymooners. Get out! Man, I mean, we got in and we left in a hurry,
Boy.
And then Arizona, we went to Arizona. The mountains were hell. I had the hand crank bike, and I remember they had a thing called a green chili burger there that they had a cook-off. That was unbelievable up in the mountains. And I don't know why it's never spread like chicken wings did everywhere.
Right.
And it was fantastic. And then on and on and on, and I went. And then I finally got to Santa Monica, California, and I was coming to the end.
Gorgeous.
And the L.A. Parrot Heads, they threw a gigantic party for me at a place called Moose McGillicuddy's. And I met Wings Hauser, the guy that played Ramrod in that movie Vice, and we had all kinds of people. And I have T-shirts that I wanted to show that were right here. Okay, they're here. Okay, yeah. Anyway, getting back to the story, like I told you, I was going to show you some shirts. When I broke the world record distance swim, here was the shirt that was designed for that. The shirt is like 35 years old. I've saved it. It's the last one. It has all the sponsors on it in the back and everything. And then when I pushed a racing wheelchair across the country, here's a chair that was designed. The shirt that was designed for that. The Parrot Head Run, nautical wheeling across the USA. When we named it the Parrot Head Run in honor of Jimmy sponsoring the trip. And then,
great.
yeah, and then we had. Then when I was in Dallas, the Lone Star Parrot Heads, as I was telling you guys, they threw a big party for me, and all the members signed it.
Yeah, it looks like they signed it.
It looks like
Everybody signed it, and then the whole time I was doing that, when I pushed the wheelchair, one of my bucket lists was I wanted to do a stand-up comedy show. So I got to do one at the Comedy Showcase in Houston, Texas, and I did it. And I did it for the Manatee. So a couple of the guys like Danny Bevins, I think he was on the show. And this guy right here, Jeff Wayne, he signed it too. And Jeff Wayne was the famous comedian you saw on TV. In his spare time, he went around and all he did was explore graveyards and take pictures of grave sites and stuff. He was a really neat guy. And here's the actual shirt of the Comedy Showcase that I appeared at in Houston, Texas. And I got it signed by a couple guys on that one. And then last but not least, here's the great shirt from the L.A. Parrot Heads and the big party that they threw, and there was a couple hundred people there.
Wow.
Look at all the signatures of everybody on that one.
That is definitely cool.
Yeah, so I kept all those over the years. And I ended up doing another event that Jimmy Buffett sponsored involving a sailboat. But you know what? We're gonna save that for the next show, which is going to be titled Old Key West, and we're going to talk about all that. So what we're going to do, we're all going to go to Key West together, and we're going to do a show. We're going to sample some of the restaurants. But you've been to Key West.
That?
I actually have been to Key West.
You have?
Joe, I don't have excellent stories with Jimmy Buffett, but I did. Last time I was in Key West, we went. I was there on a bachelor trip, wedding party, and one of my buddies, I'm not too familiar with Key West, but I've been there a couple times, and we did what they call, I think it's a Duval crawl. Have you heard of that?
Duval crawl is where you try to have a shot at each bar or a drink at each bar, up one side and down the other. Duval, yeah. I've heard
Correct.
of that.
You're from there, so you know
Yeah.
it. So I'm definitely a lightweight. And the Bachelor, we tried to do it in completion. So then we wake up the next day, sand, sun, everything like
Let
that.
me guess, you tried it again.
Of course, right? When in Rome, you try
Yeah.
to do as the Romans. So we're down to Key West, go to Duval Street again,
You
try to
didn't-
hit the
you
crawl.
Didn't success in
Not
it,
even
and
close.
I don't think many people make it.
Well, it's not like we picked up from where we left off
Yeah,
the day
right,
before,
right.
you know what I mean? But we tried again. We heard some great music, swung by Margaritaville, respects to Jimmy Buffett and everything like that. Funny thing on that story is the next morning, after 2 nights, Duval crawl, next morning, the Bachelor had booked a 3-hour jet ski tour around the islands of Key West. Now, I love the outdoors and I love being on the water.
But after 2 attempts at the Duval crawl,
I tell you, the struggle was super real. Like, I was hurting, we were all hurting, but we had to push through because that was the one thing that the Bachelor wanted to do, right? So you can't disappoint him there. So, but no, once we got out on the water, had a little, electrolytes in us, we got going. It was beautiful. One of the best jet ski tours I've ever taken. I mean, Key West is just so gorgeous.
that is awesome. And when you're cruising around the islands right off of Key West like that, you're best off in a jet ski, because I know from personal experience there's so many sandbars and shallows. That's why they like to rent you houseboats. Jake, be quiet, boy. They like to rent you houseboats down there, because you get stuck and then they got to come rescue you at $500. You've been to Key West, haven't you?
No, I've never been to Key West, but
Oh!
but I would love to go. I think it would be a great trip.
We're all
you
gonna
know?
go. We're all gonna go together.
Oh,
And
yeah.
with that, we're gonna take our first break here. But listen, I gotta tell you something. This is gonna blow your mind. This is the first episode of the Drunken Cockatoo, right? We're on.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever even seen us before, and already we got a sponsor.
No way.
I got a phone call last night,
Ooh,
and this
love that.
company, they sponsor us, which has made this actual. It's called the Homeopathic Cosmetology Company, and obviously, from what I talked about them, they're like cutting the way through the new frontier of cosmetology, and they got all kinds of groundbreaking new supplies
skincare
and products, and
Oh.
so they paid for this. The only reason we're on here right now is because of the Homeopathic Cosmetology Company in New Jersey. So
Fantastic.
I promised them that I'm going to play an infomercial for them. So we're going to go to that infomercial right now and
Right.
check them out. I heard they're pretty innovative, so really pay attention to them. And when we come back, we're going to be over at the Cockatoo Cooking Corner, where I personally am going to prepare a Key West classical breakfast for our cyber audience. So let's watch it,
Love it.
and then relocate, and we'll see you back here in a minute.
Greetings, everybody out there in cyber world. My name is Jake the Nose Manicat, and believe it or not, I'm the president and founder of the Homeopathic Cosmetology Company of New Jersey. And welcome to our very first infomercial for our burgeoning enterprise. And for my fellow New Jerseyans, burgeoning means growing, you know. Well, we here at the HCC are a group of super aggressive, super proactive, unlicensed cosmetology school dropouts. And tonight we will demonstrate to you how we have devised beauty generation formulas from everyday things around the house that till now you've been probably just throwing away anyway. And this means big savings to you through the HCC. So without further ado, allow me to introduce you to our kooky cosmetology associates. I have the divine pleasure of introducing my best friend, Joey Maggio, who is our go-to skincare professional. And today, he's going to be teaching us all how to get rid of those stubborn blackhead pimples. And what most people would consider everyday household rubbish is what he's going to be using. The things that you don't use, the old cleaning products that you have, you don't really remember what you use them for, so you throw them away. Well, don't throw them away anymore, because we're here to help you out. And last but certainly not least, I want to introduce our skilled dental care technician who would have graduated cosmetology school if it weren't for the fact that he couldn't read. And today, he is going to teach us how to whiten our teeth using household cleaning supply waste. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Rocky Stoner of Seattle, Washington. All right then, let's get started with Joey Maggio, as he will show us how to get rid of those pesky old blackhead pimples without getting ripped off by real licensed cosmetology school grads, you know what I mean? Joey, take it away.
Yes, sir, Mr. Manicat. I'll get on that right away, sir. Yes, sir. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to tell our audience that not only will they get the same exact results with my very own homeopathic skincare mixtures as they would with an actual holier-than-thou licensed cosmetologist. But the difference is I didn't have to pay some stupid frickin' school a ton of money to teach me this stuff. Because you know, after they turned me down, I learned it all on my own anyway. Hey, that's just me, Joey, and believe you me, that will add up to big, big savings for you and I. Believe me this. All right, so okay, let's get started then, shall we? All right, what I have in front of me here, the product in the jar is an eclectic collection of household cleaning chemicals that I have mixed together to make the most effective blackhead pimple killer known to man. I know you've tried this, Jake. Hey, tell me about this now. And for the inquiring minds in our audience, I will reveal exactly what the mixture is. All right, guys, so first, as you can see here, I mixed some mouthwash with a few splashes of this towel cleaner. All right, I'm sure you guys got these household products at home, okay? So as if that wouldn't be enough to run those pig-headed, black-headed pimples out of town. Hey, I have also added some bleach with a shot of Jack Daniel's whiskey just to back it all up. All right, believe me now, this stuff works, okay? Now, Mr. Manicat, I want you to get that camera in here nice and tight to show our audience just how many blackhead pimples a person can collect when they haven't bathed for a week or so.
Now that's a lot of blackhead pimples, you know what I mean? Yeah.
All right then, let's get this party started, eh?
While we wait for it to begin to work on those terrible blackheads, let's go on over to Rocky Stoner and see his demonstration on teeth whitening. Rocky, why don't you tell our fine audience just how you are going to teach them the fine art of whitening your teeth?
Yeah, man. You got it, Mr. Manicat. It would be my divine pleasure to do this for you. Just like my fellow unlicensed associate Joey, I have also made up my very own mixture of everyday household chemical cleaners to create the very best tooth whitener in the entire world. Or at least on the west side of Jersey anyways. And I want to take a second out there to give a negative shout out to that high and mighty cosmetology school that wouldn't let me attend just because I'm what they call an illiterate. This one's in your face, okay? Okay, now back to my demonstration. My custom tooth whitening mixture is this. First of all, I started off with a couple of tablespoons of Formula 409 cleaner with a half a cup of peroxide already in there, and then I put in an extra half cup of methyl ethyl ketone, which is also known as MEK, and I put it all in a blender on puree and let it roll and rip, man, for like 2 freaking minutes straight. Yeah. And then I topped it all off with some tile cleaner, man, and a tall cup of this stuff that they call Fireball or something when you can't get the pipes open unless you use dynamite or something like that, man. Yeah. So how does that sound, man, for an effective tooth cleaner? All right, Mr. Manicat, get the camera in close here, and I want these people to really look at what my teeth looks like before I apply my tooth cleaner. Yeah.
All right, now, while we all sit around and wait the miracle result for Joey's and Rocky Stoner's demonstration, I want to tell you all just what the homeopathic cosmetology company can do for you. Do you have hair that's too flat? Well, we have products that can fluff it up to make you look like Farrah Fawcett. I mean, when she was alive, because I'm sure no one would want to look like her now, you know what I mean? Is your face covered with unsightly zits? Well, we can wipe them out quicker than justice at the O.J. Simpson trial. In fact, we have a product for whatever you may need in the world of cosmetology, and we can get it to you cheaper than any other company because all of our associates, we're all unlicensed cosmetology school dropouts, you know what I mean? They got no student loans to pay back. And all the products are just mixtures of other companies' trademarked cleaning products, so we don't have to pay all those trademarking, licensing, and other bullshit charges that the damn government makes up just to fill their pockets with. You know what I'm saying? All right then. Okay, I can tell you right now too that from the bottom of my heart, that there is no one out there anywhere in the world that's going to treat you better than the HCC is going to treat you, I swear. So please order all your products from us from now on, because we truly care about you. And we used every last dollar we had to bring you this damn infomercial, so help us out. Hey, all right, now it's time for us to rejoin our very own Joey Maggio. Let's just go through him and see how his facial cleanser has dealt with all those stubborn and hard to get rid of blackhead pimples. Joey, how's it working for you?
Yeah, Mr. Manicat, I think we may have left my mixture on too long during your heart-wrenching speech. I wanted to say something, but I didn't want to interrupt, because your sermon was so beautiful. Oh my God, look at what I've done to myself. Oh boy. Oh, my roncha. Maybe I should have tried harder to get into that real cosmetology school. What'd you say, Mr. Manicat?
Oh my God!
Ah!
Oh, I think you're right about leaving it on too long, Joey. But hey, let's get over there to Rocky Stone and see how his teeth whitening is doing, huh? Ye gods!
Leo, here we are at the Cockatoo Corner here.
Yeah.
At the cooking Cockatoo Corner. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of oil in this. I'm going to teach you something here. You know when you're down in Key West and you're doing the Duval crawl, you know, you wake up and your body's kind of dehydrated and you're kind of like, you want water, you feel like you need water, and you feel fat, you know, like when you're back at home if you drink and you get drunk. And one of the favorite things is go to one of the cheap burger joints and you get a burger and you put like a whole greasy French fry on top of it, smash it down. You know how your body craves food like that? Well, here's something that I invented down in Key West. A real high fat volume omelet that I call Key West Sunrise Surprise Scramble. Are you ready? Okay, you get the stuff really hot here. Put yourself a little bit of grease in here.
What you got going there? Some garlic?
All right, this is fresh hand-cut garlic. If you ever down there and anybody gets some garlic salt, throw them out of the room. So you get out, we're down in Key West. We're gonna eat like we're in Key West. We're not gonna eat like we're at the Kmart getting a hot dog. So we're gonna do that. I used to eat this stuff all the time when I lived on my sailboat down in Key West. I was writing Bone Key, you know, my first book in the Bradley series.
Right.
And so this was always a hangover crave food. So what you do is you notice how I put the garlic on right there, and I let it brown a little bit. Then the next thing we'll do is in a quick succession, okay? We're gonna put some onion in there, some good white onion, we'll scatter it around. Make sure it's cooking. You see how that oil's kind of taking it now?
I can smell it. It smells good right there.
Too bad they don't have smell-o-vision out there, you know what I mean? And then what you're gonna do like here is we're gonna do some red pepper for color. Red pepper is always sweeter. You know, green pepper and red pepper is the same exact pepper, just the green is not as ripe as the red one. Some people think that they're two different peppers, but they're not. So anyway, so we got garlic in there, we got onion, we got red pepper. About right now, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add some green pepper to it now, okay? Green pepper, and then what we're gonna do, we're gonna scatter this up a little bit, make sure that gets cooking real good here. Yeah. Notice how I got just enough oil to go in there, not a lot of oil in there. Now, now what I've done now here is I got me about a pound of extra large jumbo shrimp. And what I've done
Fantastic.
is I cut them into small pieces. So I put them in small pieces rather than, you know, the big ones. That way they cook evenly with the green pepper and the onion pepper. And many a times when I was writing Bone Key down there in the Keys, I remember I had to change the papers out because I'd be cooking this and I'd look down at what I wrote and I'd have olive oil all over it and garlic and, you know, the shrimp and all that stuff. So what you want to do now is you want to go ahead, put that in there for just a couple of minutes while I show you something else, another secret. Put that like that secondary lid down there because it really keeps it down tight there. Okay, and then let me show you something here. Here's a little secret I want to teach you. You see right here, now this is the secret to the Sunrise Surprise Key West. I made 6 eggs here, but I only put 3 whites in. So in other words, I took 3 of the eggs and I got rid of the whites, so I double yolked the egg so it's really rich. Gotcha. And you don't have to get like everybody, you don't have to get a fork and sit there. All you do is you put it in something like this, and then you shake it just like this. Okay? Scramble, okay? Now, let's go ahead and stir this up right here real quick. Smell that.
Oh yeah.
Tell me, baby, tell me. See them shrimps? They're already turning white on us already. They're already turning white. Look at that onion is going soft. That green pepper's going soft. I gotta tell you, I bet you I eat this dish during the time I started writing Bone Key, the thriller in Key West about a guy that's in New York City, as you know, and he was a stockbroker, and he was at a bar in Manhattan, and he met a guy that was down there to sell a shrimp boat because his father had died and he was taking a bank over in New York. So sight unseen, Bradley West, the character, he went down and he saw the shrimp boat and he bought it and left everybody and everything in New York City, and he moved down to Key West to do his own shrimp boat, as you know. And then within the first week, he was being chased by a madman detective that wanted to pin a capital crime on him, a modern day pirate that wanted to kill him. He had started dating this woman with extra heavy baggage, and it was just a real messed up story from beginning to end. That book takes off from the beginning and it never hits the ground. It runs. I know you read it. You remember it.
Fantastic book.
We got to get that out there for our fans to read too. Oh yeah, look at that. She's cooking up nicely. She's almost done. We got about another minute here on this shrimp here. For a real treat here.
Oh, yeah,
Just a minute here.
Real good, Joe.
Just a minute here. Well, now what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take this cheese here. We're gonna scramble it all throughout there. Now this is not an omelet. This is a Key West Sunrise Surprise Scramble. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scramble this, and I gotta tell you, you know what they say, some of these dishes, you slap your mom away from the table, I'm telling you. Key West Sunrise Surprise Scramble. We're about just a few moments away from doing it. Yeah, and you know what the secret is? Let me tell you something. You cook shrimp, you don't overcook it. Everybody overcooks shrimp. But you see the shrimp right here, it doesn't have any fat. And a lot of fish, most fish, in fact probably all fish, are the same way. They don't have any fat in their fillets. So people, like when you cook a steak, you gotta cook it because the fat's marbled throughout.
Right.
With a fish and with shrimp, they don't have that at all. So it cooks very, very rapidly. Okay, so now remember the eggs that I scrambled by shaking, right? Instead of doing a spoon, but, you know. Eventually we got to get rid of those caveman tools like forks and stuff. Okay, now here comes the beauty. Watch this. Here we go. Watch this. Oh, and you know what? Remember, that's double egg yolk on that. So that's actually 6 eggs, but only 3 egg whites on 6 yolks, and that's where the secret's going to be.
I know you've been down to Key West too many times. Have you completed that Duval crawl?
You know, here Jake said he's been down to Key West too.
I hear him talking to us.
He had to throw that in there.
Excited.
So anyway, I have never done, but I have gotten so close that I thought I did, but then I was later told that I didn't. And you know, when you're in that situation, you really can't argue. So anyway, here we are. I think we're just a couple moments away from that. Excuse me, I almost dropped that. Oh, watch this, Leo.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, watch this, Leo.
Let's turn it over nice.
Ooh, look at that, boy. It's a good thing my mom, if she was alive and she was near this table, I'd probably be right about now be slapping her away. Get your hands away from that. You ain't touching that. Ooh, look at the colors on that. You think a damn carnival came to town. The Key West Carnival, I'll call it. Yeah, you know what'd be really nice? You know, we started this show, and right before we started this show, you know, as you know, Jimmy Buffett sponsored me, and I've met him quite a few times, and I guess I'm about as much of a friend as you can be with somebody that has that much stuff going on in his life. But I actually called and gave a request down to the office to see. I was hoping he would say something for the Drunken Cockatoo, you know, to give his blessings on the show, and then wouldn't you know it, he dies. So we're never going to get that, but we can honor him by keeping Parrothead way of life and Jimmy's memory alive through the Drunken Cockatoo right here. We're going to be here every show. We're going to have a brand new tropical islander food. Boy, look at here. Look at that cheese all melted in there. And notice how I did not overcook the eggs. Okay. Ooh, doggy, look at that. Leo, now, given the Cockatoo rating scale, which is ours, the Cockatoo, plumes down, plumes up, or plumes way up. Let me just do the finishing touches on this, and I want you to tell me.
Yeah, we got some folks that can help us try this out. Now you're gonna have some too, Joe.
Oh, I'm gonna. You know I did damn to it, and I'm gonna have some of that. Oh,
I'm
you
excited.
ain't good. You ain't okay. You go ahead and dabble that a little bit in the top of that, and then give it a try. I don't want to touch it until I see and I get your plumes rating on that.
I'll tell you what the plumes are. We'll see if Jake gives us a plume rating too.
Oh, Jinkle. Jinkle Pops has had this before. He loves it.
You want the rating, Joe?
Give me the rating.
That's a plumes way up, sir.
Plumes way up on that one. All right, well, let me get a little sampling of it myself.
Oh,
yeah.
It smells so good,
and
too.
I'm gonna save the rest for our cameraman, Jeremiah, who's always behind the scenes.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't get out here to share in all the wealth of everything that we do. Let me put a little sour cream in there. Let me see that. Hold on. Let me give it a rating. Hold on.
What'd you say, Joe?
Look at that. You get that sour cream in that yet? Let me tell you what, this is no kind of diet food, but boy, you know you're eating it.
We are not joking over here, folks.
Okay. It's been too long. We gotta get down there and try to beat that Duval crawl so we can have this again. All right, we'll be right back with you in just a minute. Salute. Plumes way up.
Plumes all the way up.
Ladies and gentlemen, now is probably my very favorite time of each and every Drunken Cockatoo show that's going to be coming, that has been here before, and that's a special time when Hula Amy makes a drink. She's going to be making drinks from around the world, the most exotic islands, places and drinks you've never heard of before. But today she's going to make a real special drink. She's going to be making a drink that a man by the name of Jimmy Buffett made famous. And what would that be, Amy?
That would be the margarita. Come with me, let's make a margarita. I'm here to show you how to make a margarita. All right, first we're gonna start with the tequila. What you wanna do is give it 1.25 ounces. That looks good. And then we're also gonna use triple sec. And then we're gonna do a little bit of sour and some lime juice. You know, that was Jimmy Buffett's favorite drink, would be the margarita. Everybody thought about making having margaritas on the beach. Jimmy crossed your mind. You shake it up real good, and you pour it on ice. Light, refreshing, crispy, and delicious. Everything that you need in a drink. Enjoy a margarita.
Well, lucky Leo, we're coming to the ending of our first ever Drunken Cockatoo show. And I think it went pretty smudely.
Absolutely.
I think the show's going to be a runaway hit. And what we're going to do is we're going to strive for all the fans out there and all our fellow parrot heads. We're going to try to keep the dream that Jimmy Buffett envisioned, that he encapsulated, that he made happen. We're going to try to keep it alive. We're going to do some events together. We're going to stay involved with the Tampa Bay Parrot Heads. That we just got done our first cooking show. How about that Key West Sunrise Surprise?
That was fantastic.
Tell me that stuff. That stuff was
excellent.
That stuff was strong like the Terminator, man.
I don't think I need to be on a Duval crawl to have one of those. I'll just have it on a Sunday.
Yeah, but you know it's so damn fat that you can't eat it all the time. That and then Hula Amy did a great job with her margarita.
Oh, really well.
But you know, I think I'm really looking forward to the future episodes because she's going to be doing so many really exotic drinks from faraway places you've never seen before. That's what we're going to strive for, is the drinks nobody's ever heard of. You're not going to hear a Singapore Sling or Sex on the Beach.
Absolutely.
You're going to hear ones that you never heard of before. But anyway, we're going to have a tropical trivia every week.
Oh, I'm excited for this.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to put it out there, and then we're going to let the following, on our next show, we'll come up with the answer. And if you think you know the answer out there, go ahead and you can type it in on the comments. We'll be checking on it. Now, here's the trivia question. On the album, I believe it was White Sport Coat and a Pink Crustacean, I believe it was, Jimmy Buffett's album from the 70s, the first song on it was called Woman Gone Crazy on Caroline Street.
Sounds about right.
Who was the woman that he wrote the song about? I know the answer to it, and I think I might be one of the few because I actually lived down there in the mid-70s, mid-80s. I was down there, and I remember I actually saw the person that the song was written about many a time. So go ahead and put it in the comments, and keep an answer on yourself on the next show, which is going to be called Old Key West. We're going to have the answer to that show on that. So anyway,
right.
Now in the final closing of the show right now, what I want to do is I want to say something to the man himself, Jimmy Buffett, that made it all happen. As you know, I broke a world record distance swim, and I got a little name for myself, and then I actually got sponsored. I pushed a racing wheelchair from here to California, and I got all the excitement and all the experiences and life-changing stuff that happened with it. And the reason why I got that is because Jimmy Buffett sponsored me, made it possible,
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I just want to say a few words about the man. I think I was very honored to have known him, to have met him a few times. I actually even got to have a rum drink with him. And you always hear things about kids coming out, out of college, and they're throwing their mortarboard hats in the air and they're going to change the world. Here's a man that really changed the world, man, and he changed it for better. It's unbelievable. I mean, around the world, he's livening everybody's mood. Imagine the suicides that he's saved people from around the world. It's got to be in the millions. I modeled my life after him. I sailed the boat across an ocean. We're going to talk about that on the next show, the Old Key West show. But I got to tell you, Jimmy, I want to thank you for everything. We all want to thank you for everything to Parrot Heads. You changed our lives. We always will love you until our last breath. And until we see you in that Margaritaville in the sky, here's looking at you, Jimmy.
Rest in peace, Jimmy.
Thanks for everything. Rest in peace. This is Drunken Cockatoo. We're out. We'll see you next time. Thank you.